Hi, I'm Foronda.
Hi, I'm Angel. I'm an artist.
I am currently teaching English to Japanese students.
Hi, I'm Alma.
My name is Niccolo. I'm a photographer.
I'm a journalist
And I'm a vegetarian.
and occasional poet.
Hi, I'm Kim.
I am godless, atheist, free thinker.
My name is Vince.
I'm involved in lay pastoral ministry.
I'm a poet and a critic.
I do believe that an excess in everything is not a good thing.
Because gravity.
I like reading books and I love philosophy.
And I'm a unicorn.
As long as I'm cute, I'm okay with that.
Other than that,
Very interested in hearing people's story.
I have no other labels or identifiers for myself, so I don't know.
I believe in truth, at least I will when I find it.
Maybe I'm just me.
Hi, welcome to Principles of Principle. My name's Angel, and today our topic is procreation. Now, is it an act of selfishness, a form of immortalizing our name, maybe a way for some people to get out of poverty, or maybe some sort of expression of love? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about today. Right? So before we start, let's introduce ourselves first with the new guy.
Hi, Mwango.
Me.
What's your name?
Me.
Again, I didn't hear that. Yes.
Vince.
Alright.
I'm Kim.
I'm Alma.
Okay, well, let's let our new guy start. Hi, Wango.
Hi.
Wow. But I don't have kids of my own. Probably won't have. But it's a very sensitive topic, I think, for me especially, because there's a lot of, overpopulation is a serious problem. It's just that overpopulation is a real situation. It's a real problem that we've got right now. And then we also have this idea, this statistic that's going on that there are a lot of unwanted pregnancies.
Yes.
So we also have a big problem with sexual education and sexual health. But at the same time, since the human beings, we're animals. We're natural beings. It's part of the life cycle process in terms of we continue on with the species. All animals do it. It's possible. So I'm sort of on the fence at this moment on whether procreation is a selfish act or if it's a natural act that we should do. I think that there should be procreation, but it requires a lot of thinking and a lot of thought.
Yeah.
But before we examine what procreation is, perhaps we must look at how we mean the word to be, or
Okay.
what
Yeah,
the
yes,
word
yes.
constitutes.
Okay.
Day basis.
A human dictionary.
Yeah, I think procreation is very, very simple, really, in the sense that you make another human being, maybe more than one. That depends on how efficient or
5 at a
productive you are. I think the most is octuplets. I can't imagine
Yes,
having
yes,
that many. I have kids or twins. I have a set of twins. That's overproductive ovaries for you. And but for me, it's more a case of Wango had a good take there. Should you or should you not? I think that if you're capable of raising the kids you procreate, that includes putting them through school all the way to college, then yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you can't even feed yourself or take care of yourself, you know what? Keep it in your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Tell that to the I don't know.
I
just-
know. I know.
Tell it to our community here in the Philippines who think that having more kids means there's a likelihood of one of them turning into celebrity and bringing them out of poverty.
Yeah.
Like, how do we solve that? You know what I
Well,
mean?
we come from an agricultural
Agricultural
origin,
setting?
and the more kids you had
Yeah,
in those days,
yes.
the more hands you had to till the land
yeah,
and
yeah,
take care
yeah.
of the
Yeah, that's true,
animals
that's
and
true.
fish. So that's where we get that mentality that the more children you have, the better it is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work in an urban setting. That doesn't work in a setting where you can't till the land. Rather, you have to go to work for a set amount of wages.
Yes.
And you only bring home so much and divide it among so many.
And the cost of life is so much different now than it was
But
back
now,
then.
now you need to use money.
Yeah. and what people need to survive is a whole lot more complex than it was back in when you were talking about the agricultural
Yeah.
days.
Also we have to also to consider. I think education should be in a lot, no, because a lot of people would say yes, let's procreate, but they don't know the consequences, no, of their actions, no. Especially right now in our consumeristic world, no, anything will, all companies will use anything to sell their products,
Yes.
no,
Sex
including
sells.
sex, no. That's why people are driven, no, on their sexual drive, and they would like to satisfy it. Only to realize it can also be the source of procreation. No? So this has to be defined in such a way that people have to be careful about this, because remember, sex is a item being used by companies right now to sell a product. I don't.
And I
I
really
don't-
think it's irresponsible to tell people, yeah, sex is good. I mean, it's a George Michael song, but but you can't have that without telling them these are the consequences.
Yes,
So pregnancy,
that's what I'm-
procreation, that may or may not be a good consequence, but I think life is always a blessing.
Yes, I believe
But
that.
what if it becomes, yeah, pregnancy and then disease? Or it becomes pregnancy and then a relationship that you cannot sustain. Pregnancy and a relationship that is abusive. It becomes complex that way.
No, wait. So, wait. Coming from what you've said, no, like with you, you said maybe it's necessary. How it does, how is it important nowadays that we're in
Yeah.
an urban society? And you said because of the consumerism and with capitalism and all
Education,
the
yeah.
education. But the thing is, those two come in hand. Like yes, so now we don't have land to plow. But we have this whole setup of the urban jungle. So most likely from George Orwell, we're more like
Very
cattle.
1984.
Yeah, yes, we're more like cattle. That okay, we need people to
You
work
were
this.
reading
I know, right? It
earlier,
stuck to me, really. It stuck to me. I mean, like when I read it, I was like thinking, I'm a cattle. I'm a cattle. The capitalists,
Yeah.
they want us to work for them. Now we are still important. And then okay, just let them be. Give them their teleseries. They're so distracted. We're distracted. Oh,
Yes,
like
that's
I'm
true.
distracted with
Yeah,
everything
that's
that's geekery, right? Let's distracted with anything they want, but let them procreate because it is still important. No land to plow, but we have all these
Still an
structures.
economy to
Excuse
run.
me.
Yes.
They don't say procreate. Let them enjoy their sexual drives, but no mention about procreation.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because right now, no, as you mentioned earlier, there's a big problem about teenage pregnancy.
Yes.
It's because children right now are being raised by no parents.
Yes.
And that's why they thought intimacy is something very good, but these kids don't know about procreation and about their sexual act. No, they can feel they felt love at that time. No? Maybe they don't know. No?
That's maybe-
And yet,
Or acceptance.
then the thing happened, and then they get pregnant.
Maybe because the values we place towards an act
Mhm.
aren't
Yes.
really or differ from intention to.
Yeah.
I was trying to compare the ways in which capital uses our desires in order to illuminate something and present us with something that we readily accept but are not critical to in terms of doing or committing with something. For example, I have a relationship with someone. Does it really, through advertising as you were saying, does it really mean that I have to do certain things so that I would be acceptable to larger society, or do I have to subscribe to these notions?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but the problem is right now, no, with the sense of our modern society. I don't know, but people would like to be driven on your likes or interests, but not to really make you think. To think, you know what, is a big effort. It's a matured way of seeing things, because right now people don't want you to think, because when you think, that's dangerous. Business will lose.
Yeah.
But what the people, no, I'm not only saying the companies, no, but the society itself is driving you something a bit crazy so that you will do anything that you want because and they're talking the sense of freedom. And that freedom, sad to say, had been used irresponsibly.
So we're all saying that it's society, it's a population issue. I like what you were saying. How are we subscribing to a fantasy that was created, right?
Yes.
Because we feel like we're not complete unless we get the partner,
Yes.
the
wife
kids,
picket
the
fence.
fence.
And
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
for example, Valentine's.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I
It's
should have
not
done that.
appropriate
Yeah.
to be saying that. You know what I mean? I need someone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Contemporary
saying?
society
Yeah.
reduces the notion of love into
Two persons.
women's effective labor.
Yes. Or you're not loved without the chocolate in the
Yeah.
flowers,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I've had a child young, like before the appropriate age, and I've had the child in my mid-20s, and I can say my mental state completely different
Right.
from when I was younger.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
more glamorized, like, I was playing house
Right.
almost, embarrassing to say. I love my kids. I love you guys. And then in my mid-20s, you have the child knowing that, you're fit, ready, capable as a mother. But at the same time, did I buy into the whole, like, I'm not acceptable as a woman unless I have children?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
my daughter, she's amazing. She likes to call herself asexual. So at a younger age, I realized how society brainwashed me
Yeah.
to think
Yeah.
that I have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I have to have this unless to be accepted, this and that. So with my younger daughter, I started her early as there's no such thing as boy or girl or blue or pink or anything like that, right?
The social conditioning.
Ex-
About the
Exactly.
conventional way of seeing things.
Exactly. So now she's 12 and says she claims to be asexual. And she says, I don't want to need to have a child. And I celebrate that because I felt that pressure as a young girl that I'm only okay if I get the wedding, if I
Yes.
get the kid,
Yeah.
if I get that house.
And that was defined by society. Yeah.
It was defined by
Feudal
and it was
and patriarchal.
and I felt
Yeah.
like a part of it wasn't my choice. Mind you, I
Well-
love my children.
Well-
I'm not trying.
It's hard to say, but
But you know
Yes,
what
yes,
I'm
yes.
we've
saying,
been part of
right?
the system. We've been part of the system.
Yeah, and I feel like even procreation turns into something that like we feel like we have no choice in it.
Well, at some
You know,
point
at
there
some
is no
point,
control.
you know.
Like when you're giving birth, honestly, there's a right
Yeah.
now.
Right.
All right. So, I had twins and I was a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I had just started work as a journalist, and I had this really weird notion I wasn't gonna have kids. It was career, no man, and kids. And yeah, I had a really cute guy at that time. It was like, yeah, yummy. But the thing is that yeah, yummy didn't quite work. The usual story of the condom broke. So, and then my first ultrasound was surprise, it's twins, and I had gotten all the things I needed for one kid.
That's so
I had to go out and
expensive.
get another set. I was 23 when
Congratulations.
I had my kid. And I was absolutely unprepared for all the changes I had to make in my life.
Yeah.
Before I got pregnant and had kids, I could spend my money any way I wanted. I could go out with whom I wanted. And I could read what I wanted. I could stay
Yeah.
up as late as I wanted. Suddenly, when I got pregnant, I had to take certain things like that
Yeah.
formula to make you drink.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
tastes
yeah.
like mud.
We're not sleeping anymore.
And you can't sleep. And oh my God, when the labor process started, it's like, gotta go to the hospital like right now. I was in the middle of a bath. And I couldn't get the conditioner into my hair because, coming now, gotta go now. That was the first time I felt like I had no control over my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then they keep you up with crying.
yeah.
And they need to be fed every now and then. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, am I your maid?
Yes.
Yes.
You,
Yes,
you,
you are.
have to have a
That's-
certain mindset
Yes. That's
to be
conditioning.
a parent.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a conditioning.
Exactly.
It's just a conditioning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I always ask my friends, the ones who accidentally get pregnant. I accidentally got pregnant too, but that was a long time ago.
Yes.
In this day and age, I feel like there's no way to accidentally get pregnant anymore.
Yes.
There's the
Actually-
pill.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
just hear me out.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
hear me
yeah.
out. There's the pill, there's the condom, there's the girl condom, the man condom, there's the day after.
Yes.
And I hate to say it,
Wait,
abortion.
the day after, is it really available
It's a-
still?
I don't know about here, but it's
Oh,
in the
diba?
States,
Yeah.
but I don't know about here. And then, I'm sorry, abortion has to be an option.
Yeah.
So, I just feel like, is it really like, is accidental pregnancies actually still possible?
But
Yeah.
yes.
Is that responsible?
Sad to say yes.
Yes, sad
It
to say yes.
shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
It
No,
It shouldn't be,
anymore.
but remember, poverty here in the Philippines is not only poverty in terms of material things.
Poverty and
Also
education.
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 That's the problem, no?
Yeah, we
So
have
it's
cultural
education.
constructs and social constructs that tell us that if you're pregnant, you don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
So that leads into religion. So
Yes.
how?
Yeah.
It's
Let's
more a
let's talk
question
about
of
that,
class.
like religion
Actually,
and procreating.
Religion, go forth and multiply. That's in the Bible.
No, I think
No.
now. Wait. I think they're taking it
That
back
has to be
now. They're
qualified.
taking
That
it
has to be
back.
qualified. That has to be
You know,
qualified.
somebody should have said mathematically, not biologically.
They didn't know we were gonna be so good at it.
Are just
Remember, scripture was written thousands of years
Thousands
ago.
of years ago. You know?
It has a different setting then. That was,
you know.
We needed
That's
to
why we
fill
have to-
the land. Now it's
we have
like
to read the signs of the times,
Well,
no?
stop at how many you can handle. Like I have two. My kids are my favorite accidents ever. They
Right.
pure accident, but you know what? I wouldn't change having them for the world.
Of course.
Ah, yes.
But I always tell them
That's
one
good.
thing. Number one, if you're going to have sex, know what on earth you're getting into and what the consequences
Yes,
are.
that's the
And
thing.
yes, it has to be consensual on both sides. And yes, please make sure that if you have a child from that, it's your choice.
Yes.
That's where education should come in, because these are things
Look,
that you have to
know what I found in the
realize.
school curriculum? Because they had sex education. My kids went to the public school system. And they were like reproductive system and all that. And did they tell you about how people can force themselves on other people? No, ma'am. Okay, we're gonna sit down and talk about this.
Yeah.
I actually found so much wanting in their sex education. It was about penises and vaginas and pregnancies. And it did not
It's
deal with
body
the
parts.
nuances.
Yeah.
and
It's
That's
body
it.
parts.
That's
It's
the
not
biology of it.
the social or the emotional aspect of it.
But you know what? A lot of the time, perfectly intelligent people wind up doing perfectly stupid things because, you know, when you get into that moment where you're all hot and heavy and yeah, thinking is overrated, that's the space where mistakes happen.
Yes, correct.
And that's the space where, because you're emotional, you're going to say, you're going to do this because we love each other. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But it can also be done without love, and it can also be done in
Yes,
a
right
very coercive, very manipulative way. Like, for example, boyfriend telling girlfriend that if you don't go to bed with me, you don't love me. Or vice versa,
Yeah.
girlfriend saying if you wear a condom, you don't love me.
Uh-huh.
It can't be that way. You can't always be playing the politics of the body here or the politics of the heart.
Then it's back to education. It
Yeah.
seems like it always keeps going back to education. So, anyone have anything else to say about religion and procreation?
Oh wait, with the emotion and everything, what they don't tell you in science class is that once you're in there, the hormones is raging, right? At a very, very young age, you cannot control that. That's what they don't tell you. Okay, now I feel
Yeah.
this, I love you, but they don't tell you that it's chemicals.
It's chemicals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at least
At
they
least
tell
now,
you, right?
at least
My-
now
And
they're
they do
trying
not
to
tell you there is a
discover
point of no
that
return.
Yes,
brain.
and
That
then
is
yeah,
so
because
unkind.
here's the thing. This is the frontal lobe. This is the thinking part. Now, when you release that, it goes here. The endorphins go here, and then you're like, oh wow, what?
Oh yeah, I'm in my
But
happy
you know
place.
that
You
do
don't think
also,
anymore.
do you know about the it's chemicals like
Yeah.
the pheromones and
Yes,
the
yes,
yeah.
yes.
They do not
But do you
depend
also
on the
know
mother brain,
do you
yeah.
also know that yes,
Yeah.
but do you also know that it's also subjected to your close proximity. So you cannot even be attracted to the person, but because there's chemicals,
Yeah.
at
Ooh,
yes.
some way we'll end up having some sort of like it's that it's ingrained in us. It's
Yes.
that our human nature telling us like, oh, we gotta make more kids for
Yes,
the world,
yes,
right?
yes.
So and it then goes back to education because like I taught my kids, well my younger one, I was able to grab her early. But the others I'm like fend for yourself. What can I do now? Anyway, so the younger one I taught her about the chemicals. It's like
Oh.
you might sit next to a boy or someone and feel these feelings, not understanding and this and that. So one day she came up to me and says, Remember that story about the chemicals? And she said she felt it with this one boy. But it was because of the education she knew not to fall for it.
Right.
See, that's what I'm trying to
So
say.
then it goes, like, it seems like all our solution goes back to education.
Yes.
Yes,
And not just natural education, like different out-of-the-box education or not
Yeah.
specifically
Yes.
what society tells us education.
Yes.
you
Because
know?
the biggest problem that we've got when it comes to procreation, and let's say it's sex, is that people are afraid to talk about it because it makes them
Yes.
feel like they're bastos. It's
Yes.
shameful.
Yes.
So
It's
parents
still
don't
taboo.
want to.
To some culture, it's still taboo.
It's completely,
Actually,
especially
Too
ours.
much culture. Our culture.
Our culture.
What culture? Our culture. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we're talking about our culture, like how do you feel about, let's say, China? You know how what they have that rule
One
One
child.
child only. Like,
Yeah.
like is that the solution?
No.
Like,
No,
that
they
is-
have a problem right now. In
They
China.
are.
They have
All
a problem
these
right
They're
now.
an
little
aging
girls,
population and not
At the
enough.
same time, the
young.
LGBT.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Same problem with Japan, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Now they're still getting married. They still live together.
But they don't
Yeah.
want to have kids.
Exactly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
economy comes in, they cannot afford it.
Yeah,
That's what they
yeah.
always
it's
think.
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
In a strange sort of way, we are evolving our civilization, our gadgets, our capacity to make things more than our ability to
Yes, that's-
maintain it.
I got your
And to
point.
maintain our world.
I
you
get
know?
your point.
So that's the scary slope. You can't stop population completely because we are overrun, but we can't continue as we are continuing now because there's so much need that needs to be filled.
Yeah, because
True.
we're
There's
growing in a,
always scarcity.
we're growing in a state of
Perspective.
our being without really absorbing or internalizing what's happening, no? Because we get to be confused, and that's why our values are lost because things are so happening so much, so fast, we could hardly
You can hardly
digest it.
keep up, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why anything that goes, no, in the entertainment, in the media, and everything, people just run because it entertains them, no? Forgetting certain factors to consider, no? Because you are to be entertained so that you will not think.
And you also think of this, you have a working households, both parents work.
Yeah.
And there's so little time for the parents to spend with the kids.
Kids,
Yeah.
yes.
When education should ideally begin at home. I mean, the
Yes.
first word, the first step, those are taken at home. And if you're gonna be a parent, please, take interest in it. I was a teacher for 7 years, and I had this one problem teaching English. I would call parents for a PTA, and they'd be either too tired or too busy to show up, and they'd say, "But that's why I have my kid in your school, so she or
Yes,
he will
they
learn."
pass
And
it
I'm
on.
like,
That's
"But
true.
that's why you're the parent. You're supposed to work with
No, no.
me." And parents and teachers and communities don't
Yeah.
work this way.
Correct.
Because a child will always seek out knowledge,
Yeah.
even if it
Yes.
means getting hands-on knowledge from the neighbor next door.
Yes,
Hands-
yes.
hands-on.
Also, without internet, without
Alright,
computer, without computer, yeah.
Alright,
true,
so
it's true.
yeah, and and porn is so easy to access, and if kids relied on porn to find out about
Oh,
sex, you
boy.
can just imagine.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then we have been talking about, for example, procreation and the dangerous side. But the truth of the matter is it's not completely all bad.
Yeah.
You have
No,
wonderful
true.
situations with your
True.
children, and it's a very meaningful and fulfilling situation
true.
when done properly, with thought out
Yeah.
properly.
Yes,
No, it's
if
true.
that's to be processed properly.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
otherwise, there could be some problem. But it has to be processed.
I took a class with Father Ruben. He's supposedly the priest of love or whatever, and he has
Priest of love.
yeah, he had a great point saying that there should be a desire to procreate. That's when that's one of the levels of love.
Right.
The desire. That does not mean you should or you have to. It's just the desire. So it's ingrained in us because it's our humanistic nature to know that I want to partner with you.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that we should.
I want
Yes.
to make a beautiful child.
Exactly, but we don't
And
have
raise
to.
that beautiful. No,
Anyway,
but the making's the fun part, the raising's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, as beautiful as my kids are, I will tell you this, the level of need I was suddenly plunged into as a mother was, I would go to my mom and go, "Were we like this? Because, oh my God! And you had 4 of us." And my mom goes, "Yeah, that."
That's part of it.
Alright, so it's our last 3 minutes is why don't we go around and share our final thoughts before we end this episode today.
I mean, like I said, it's a very scary area to get into because it's like you can't stop completely, but we can't continue the way we're going. But the whole idea of procreation is that we should really think about if we're going to put a child in, we have to make sure that we can give it the best that it requires, that we can give it. And I'm not talking about material things, because you can have a child can have a wonderful life with just the simple things, you know. So as long as you're willing to give time, effort to the child and still not lose yourself in the process, go ahead. I mean, let's not tell people not to, you know. I mean, it's a problem in other countries. But we have to start thinking about getting people to know what it is that they're getting into when they're having children. It's not a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
I would like to represent the women of over 30s who prefer not to have kids, not to be looked down upon, because they're saying that we're selfish. They're saying, why not? You're not a complete woman. Exactly, right? Yeah.
Is that still going around?
Yes, it is still a thing.
So you have to use your uterus?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're
I
not
thought
a
that was
real woman.
during my
You're-
time.
It still is.
It still exists?
Of course, yeah.
Okay,
So I
sad.
don't want to use my uterus ever. You know, so that's my thing, and hopefully our society would go beyond that, having children, thinking that their children would take care of them when they're old.
Yeah.
That's not a reason.
Yeah.
That's
not
not
a
a
reason.
reason,
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be the reason for procreation.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
Today, when there's so much, or there are so many options before us, we sometimes lose grip of what really is meaningful, or what really identifies as meaningful for us. There's coffee without caffeine. There's sex without love.
Yes.
These are the times when we must be more critical of what we do.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the show. No, I'm
And-
kidding.
Surrounding our choices.
Love it.
Right now, to me, procreation is still very beautiful. It's something good, beautiful. No? But we have also to be responsible. No? It's a freedom, but you have to be responsible. And right now, education material is flooded in the internet, the books, and everywhere. No? Now people has to really start learning to know things, because they have to be responsible, because this is our world, no? We can take it to the next stage. We have to do our responsibility so that we could be able to do it harmoniously in life.
That's my harmony.
I think our choices and our decision to want to be autonomous, or to rebel or go against the grain shouldn't be solely based on our fashion sense and our thinking. It should also be part of procreation. Like, we shouldn't have to buy into the concept of
Yes.
what we're supposed to do, supposed to be.
Big
And it's a huge responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah, not just with children in creating life, but in every choice we make. Like you said, there's just too much choices out there now to
Yes.
say that there's no choice.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
really
Yes.
matters.
There's
You have to
really
look at
no
what really
excuse
matters.
anymore,
Yeah, no.
you know. And at the end of the day, when you do decide to procreate and have that child, it's your responsibility to hand down that wisdom.
Yes.
Yes.
Not the teachers, not the community, but it would be
You-
great.
you as
but
a person.
it's me as
You're
a
the
person,
person.
to hand down that knowledge, you
Yes.
know, and
Yeah.
that's our
Yeah.
responsibility.
As someone who slid down that rabbit hole, I think
We
that
all did.
procreation is the ultimate commitment. You are committed to someone for at least 18 years to 24 years of their lives.
Really?
After
Really?
which you open the door and say, okay kid, you can go fly now. So you actually commit a little suicide that way.
Yeah.
Right, you lose a part of yourself when you let
yes.
your kid loose on the world. Now, the only question that should be in your mind when that baby is squalling in the crib or is sleeping in your arms is, how am I gonna raise this child I created? Will this child be a miracle, a wonder, or will this child be a disaster?
Good question.
Alright? You have to decide what you want, because you know what? When you have that kid, when you hold that kid for the first time, you have to grow up because you are the adult now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
That's
Yeah.
my word.
All right, that
So-
was Principles of Principle, and our topic was
Procreation.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.